welcome back to Philosophy Talk Show, man. We back again with this one a little different. I almost feel like I don't know. I'm moving up the ranks quick.
How? What you mean, man? This ain't nothing, man.
Man, we got a special guest today. Y'all know how we do on Philosophy Talks. It's really just be conversation, man. I got Coach English here with me.
Welcome. I'm pleased to be here. Very privileged.
If you don't know, this is the new Wilson High School basketball coach.
Yeah.
You know, we gonna learn a little bit about him today. Just from what I know. It's funny, man, because we met during Wilson homecoming.
We did.
We met during Wilson homecoming, and then we talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, just like on your episode.
Yeah.
We talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, and you reintroduced me into Crux Media.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, bro, you the high school that I went to.
Yeah.
You the basketball coach, and I got some silverware from Wilson. You know.
Yeah, I heard.
You know, so
you got the hardware.
I got the hardware, bro. So, man, congratulations to you, man.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I want to say thanks to first off Dr. Robinson and Derek McQueen, the athletic director. And the principal, Dr. Robinson, and the athletic director, Derek McQueen, I think for them having faith in me and entrusting me with such a storied program. Yeah. Dr. O'Malley, the superintendent, for, really kind of saying, yo, this is the guy that we want to take this program to the next level. And I definitely want to give homage to Carlos Powell.
Shout out to Los.
Shout out to Los,
bro.
Made a difficult decision, and I think that sometimes when it came, me and him talked a lot. I see him as a friend of mine, and when he was struggling with it, because I've struggled with things, a lot of decisions in my life, and I had to tell him, what's gonna make life better. And I guess he did what he had to do, and he thought it through, and then made the decision that he made. But shouts out to him, a state champ.
Sure.
Can't take that from him.
For sure.
20 consecutive 20-win seasons. You can't take that from him. Right. 3 region titles. The only region title he lost to me. Yeah. So I just saying.
That's crazy. Was that a flex though?
Just a little,
Nah, that's what's up. I was at that game too.
Yeah, but that's my guy. And so he's going on to another story program, 6 state champ, 3 in a row, and he's getting an opportunity to take over something like that. So what he's built at Wilson, I'm hoping that I can continue to move forward with and take the torch from him and move the program further. Man,
because what I was thinking, bro, when the news broke that Los was leaving, like the city was on fire. Like, bro,
of course,
who gonna take over this program that, like you said, 2 consecutive 20-win seasons, got a chip, bro, how, like, before we get into that, because the question I'm gonna ask is like, yo, how could someone, that's big shoes to fill, I feel like.
He wears a 16, sports. He wears a 16 and I wear a 10 and a half, but, I just gotta put on big socks. Got to put on a bunch of socks.
But before we get into that, man, like, let's introduce the world to you and your story and how you got to this point in your career to be the head coach of the Wilson High School University.
Yeah. How far you want to go back? I can
shoot whatever part of your story pops out most.
I think the thing about me is my purpose.
Okay.
The reason I got into coaching in the first place.
Yeah, why is that?
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
And then my mother moved to New Jersey. I wanted to stay in Brooklyn with my grandmother. Grandma was my life. But I wasn't the kid that you saw do trouble. I was just the one that always got in trouble. Like, you never saw it, but stuff was happening. And so, like, cutting school and all of that. So my 9th grade year, I was a handful for my grandmother. So my grandmother was like, hey, look, you got to go live with your mama. You can't stay with me. And so ended up out in New Jersey with my mom. And, there's a hood everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and I've always been kind of a charismatic kind of person. So no matter where I land, I'm gonna get with people. And I wouldn't say it was the wrong crowd, but I think when you have kids with no guidance, you just get into stuff. And nothing I did was ever so bad, but from smoking the weed to hanging out late to not coming home, and I was the oldest of all my siblings, so pretty much I'm the one paving the way for the other two. Right. My youngest brother kind of followed everything I did. My younger brother, because I have two of them, and then I didn't take school seriously. I'd be eligible to play football. By the time basketball came around, I wasn't eligible because you had to be eligible every quarter. Excuse me. So by the time I would get to basketball, I'm ineligible. Baseball comes around, I'm eligible again. Then I would flunk again. And so my senior year, I'm cutting every class, but they told me all you need is English and gym to graduate. So I'm the only two classes I go to. Dang. So I end up, my mother says, excuse me, my final report card reads like somebody stuttering trying to say the F word. So straight Fs and a D in English and an A in gym. And I enjoyed being in the street, hanging with my friends. I don't know what y'all call it here, but we call it back in New York, we call it breaking day. Like hanging out all night till the sun come up. Got into it with my stepdad. Mom put me out the house. I end up going from house to house to house until they're like, nah, you can't stay here. So I go to my grandmother, who's always had my back. I hit a chain on the door. She opens the door, and it's like, what you want? I'm like, Grandma, I need a place to stay. She's like, you got a job? I'm like, no. She's like, are you in school? I'm like, no. So come back when you got one of the two. Closes the door. I'm ringing the bell for forever. So probably about a month or two passed. I'm wherever I could sleep, I sleep. Wherever I could get food, I get it.
How old were you again?
17.
Okay.
And I'm riding the subway. Sometimes all night, sometimes a friend will let me stay at the crib. But I gotta leave in the morning before their mama wake up. And so I did that for a couple of months, and I think one day I ended up at a shelter. And there was an old guy outside, so you got to eat, and then you get to check into your little room, and then you get to hang out outside. So I'm outside kind of talking to the guy, and he, this old guy, said, young blood, you don't look like you belong out here. And I'm like, man, I tell him the story, my grandma this, and I'm blaming everybody under the sun. My mother put me out, man. This person turned their back on me. And I'm just like, and then the man said, oh, word? He said, so your grandmother just wants you to go to school or get a job. And I was like, yeah, man. Won't let me in the house unless I got that. He said, well, where she live at? I said, oh, she live, where I was at was on Atlantic Ave, downtown Brooklyn. And so he was like, I said, no. I said, down off of Nostrand Ave. He was like, what block? I said, 31st Street between Tilden and Snide. He said, what's the house number? I said, what you mean, what's the house number? He like, well, if all she wanted somebody to get a job or be in school, I go there right now.
Yeah.
Because all I need is an address to get a job.
Yeah, true.
He said, you need to go and ask her for help. Whether she lets you stay or not, just go ask her for help. So the next day I go, I sit on the porch, sit on the stoop, wait for her to get home. And when she gets home, she's like, what you want? I said, Grandma, I don't want to stay here. I just need some help getting a job. She says, okay. Walks past me, opens the door, leaves the door open, walks in. She comes back and says, why, you not coming in? I was like, Grandma, I said, nah, I told you, I just want, she's like, yeah. She's like, no, now you can stay. And I was like, this makes absolutely no sense. And she's like, no, I needed you to need to do this. Yeah. She's like, everybody wants to do stuff. Right. She was like, there's difference between needs and wants.
That's that old school wisdom.
Yeah. And she was like, you see, you need air to breathe. She was like, you needed this. She was like, so now I know that you'll always have what you need to go forward. And so she's the head of payroll for NYU. She could have been gave me a job months ago. So she says, come with me to work tomorrow. I go with her to work we get there like 8, by 9 o'clock, I got a job making $17 an hour washing dishes. And you talking about this is 98? $17 for a 17, 18-year-old? $17 an hour, 35 hours a week. And all I got to do is put the dishes on the thing and slide it through.
That's the day's pay prices.
Yeah.
People get paid that today.
Yeah, people get paid that today. So we end up doing that for a while. And then I started this guy, he was a big time drug dealer in Orange, New Jersey. He started an AAU program for kids because he wanted to keep them from becoming him. Right. His name was Coach Kev. And so Coach Kev, I used to play with some stuff around with Coach Kev, and he was like, hey, why don't you come help me coach, man? He said, I see you doing, you working hard and stuff like that. He said, you good at basketball, man. Why don't you come help? So I go help him out. We taking kids all over. It's my first experience with now we didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. He just know he had a lot of money, and he gonna take these kids all over New Jersey and New York to play games. So we do that. And then eventually I have a friend of mine who comes out here to Allen University, and she comes back, and my house, I ended up kind of building myself up, and my house is kind of like the party house. I have my own place now, me and my cousins, and it's kind of like the hangout. So she comes home from school, and she's like, yo, you too smart for this. And I'm like, what? She was like, you working like 2 jobs, you messing around with selling this stuff. She was like, you really could be doing better. I said, ain't no school gonna take me, my transcript and nothing. She's like, there's a school in South Carolina that all you gotta do is show up with the application.
What school is that?
Allen University.
Oh, Allen.
So she gave me the application. I went to my grandma, I told her what I was thinking. Now, mind you, all of this happened in like a 4-day span. She came home on the 20th. I got the application on the 22nd. It was Christmas, then my birthday. Actually, it was like a week or 2. And then on the 2nd, I was on the train to South Carolina. My grandmother had bought the ticket, gave me some money. I had money saved up. And I came down here, and I ended up at Allen University. And I said, I wanted to make something of it. I wanted like everything I did to be purposeful. So my undergrad degree is in English. And all throughout high school, even today, I have a reading comprehension problem. I have to read things like 10 times before I get it. So when I got my degree, it meant something to achieve that. And then I was like, yo, what do I want to do with this now? And I said, what if I had somebody who had been through the things I'd been through, and life wasn't tough for me, because there's people out there that had it way worse than me. So it wasn't tough. Like, I wouldn't say that mine was the worst ever. Right. You know how some people got that. I went through this and went through that, and I built myself up from the mud. Yeah. I always had a place I could have gone. I made the wrong decisions. Yeah. I chose to do stuff. My daddy was this. Yeah, my daddy was on heroin too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not using that as an excuse as to why. So I end up at these different schools, and I'm just going, my job is to help kids realize their dream. That's my purpose. And so every job, I said, so what's the best thing I can do? What's the greatest avenue to reach as many kids as I could reach? And it was like coaching, because I get them locked in, And so I got into coaching, and it's always been, I'm gonna put these kids in college. I want to see parents. I want to see them have signing days. I want them to, that's a win for me. Yeah. A state championship, that's temporary. That stuff is like, it's literally for that moment. Some people lose their ring. Some people never pick it up again. Some people never do anything else in life but have that ring. Some people have a ring who never graduated high school. Yeah. There's people who have pawned their rings because they can't eat. Yeah. But if a kid has an opportunity to get a free education that their parents really don't have the money to pay for, now there's a seed in them growing that helps them figure out themselves in life. And I'm not saying it's the only thing that happens, because I've had kids go to the military. I've had kids going straight into the workforce. My job as a coach is to help them figure out whatever plan it is. We're going to use this basketball as a vehicle to help you become a better young man so that you can come up with a plan for your life.
Right. I can feel that.
So, the discipline that comes from it, the dedication that you put for it. Because I live, my mantra for my teams is always the 4 Ds. Dedication, desire, determination, discipline. All of those things impact life.
Yeah, you're right.
All 4 Ds. If you live your life by the 4 Ds, life becomes such a breeze.
Yeah. So what about, okay, so you found out coaching is the thing that how I'm going
the vehicle,
how I'm going to touch these kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you get into it, and how? I mean, outside of with Kev, like when what was your first coaching gig?
My first coaching, I created a AAU team.
Oh, okay.
Created an AAU team, and
it
was called Coach Kev's Dream Team.
Because Coach in Carolina,
it was in Carolina. It was in Columbia, South Carolina, 2005. Right after I graduated, me and my homeboy Carlos Harrington, shouts out to him. He's an assistant coach at Brooklyn Casey. And another friend of mine, Thomas Stevens.
All right.
And it was called the Coach Kev's Dream Team.
Kev, no?
Kev had just died. That's why I named it after him.
Okay.
Kev had just passed on, and I named it after him. And the way it was set up was, it was like, we gonna get the kids don't nobody want. And we gonna work with them. And we gonna get them to graduate high school. And we gonna get them to do these things because it's gonna be things they gotta do to stay on the team. Yeah. And so we had, Ernest Bennett. He was at LR. He was in the gang. And, it's so many kids that we had that would just, everybody had kind of given up on. Every one of them graduated high school. Not all of them went to college, but we got all of them to graduate. A couple of them have families now. And I'm in touch with a good portion of them to this day. And that's, they graduated 2007. Because that was our first, that was our first group of kids, Michael Goodman and a couple kids like that. And then I stopped when I went to Allen University. I ended up as an assistant coach there, basketball.
Okay.
And I was under Coach Tim Gates. That was my first mentor, the first guy that really, as a coach. Now, Coach Gates was the biggest a-hole I have ever met in my entire life. Like, the first practice, I think I forgot to put the cones out or something. That man cussed me out in front of the entire team.
Dang.
But X's and O's, game plans, the best I've ever seen, best I've ever worked with is Tim Gates. I'm talking about everything. You would have to do a scouting report, and then he would come behind you when it was time for you to report. He said, did you watch? He was like, he'll draw the play up. He said, you know this play? I'm like, no, they ran that in the third film in the second quarter. And you'd be like, he's like, so what? I said, but they only ran it once. He's like, yeah, but what if they run it against us? We got to be ready for everything. That's why I give you 5 and 6 pieces of film to watch. And you think because I give it to you, I don't watch it? I got to make sure that what you do is correct. Because my team is not going to not be ready.
So that's one of the philosophies you carry from that?
To this day.
To today? Okay.
To today, like my assistant coaches, I empower them. But I check behind them as well.
Word.
So if I give them the film is always available for them to do their breakdown. And it's usually set up on a shared document, and they have a section to fill out. So one coach, their job is to just look at the other team's offense and put everything down. One coach, their job is to look at the other team's defense and chart everything. Put who opens their hips. Because if a kid opens their hips, his hips, he's susceptible to get driven on, which means he's going to foul in recovery, which means we go to the line a lot against him. So if we got let's say number 4 opens his hips, we tell the kids, hey, if you got number 4 and you drive him, give him a jab step, he's going to open his hips, and then drive him because you're going to end up with that one. Yeah, so it's little things, the little intricacies of the games is what I learned from Coach Gates, is you got to look for the small things, because if you attack the small things, attention to detail, one thing builds upon another, that builds upon another, that builds upon another. Yeah. And then if the kids are prepared, knowledge is power. That's what they say.
Yeah, well, applied knowledge is power.
Applied knowledge. See, but you got to be, how could you pass the test, right? The teacher had to teach you, and then to teach you everything.
Yeah.
So not everybody can't pass the test because everybody didn't pay attention.
Right.
Or some people got to study more than others. And I think that's another thing that speaks to, like they say, why do sometimes educators can sometimes be better at coaching than non-educators? And that's because there is some things that we learn, like differentiating instruction. As a teacher, you learn that you have to differentiate your instruction. You learn that no one kid learns the same way.
Right.
So some coaches like teach everybody the same way. Like, we're going to learn these plays the same way. Now, you got a kid that might be a visual learner where you got to put down a piece of paper for him. You got a kid that might have to go through the motion, a kinesthetic learner. He has to actually do it.
Right.
Then
it's
you
like
have 7
different intelligence.
it's different, 7 different learning styles.
Yeah.
So as you go through, you got to kind of figure the kids out. You got to spend time,
right,
which is pretty much going to be me this summer, figuring out how these kids learn,
right,
and how they can process information, because how they learn and process the information is how they can then apply the knowledge,
right,
and now it becomes applied knowledge.
Right, yeah.
And the only way you can do that is you have to sit back and you really have to figure out how these kids learn,
right,
so that you can teach them what you need them to know the right way.
Right. Yo, so I was at the game when you beat Wilson.
Which time? Because I beat him a couple times.
I'm just saying. I think it must have been the most important time.
Oh, it was we was the roadblock behind the back-to-back championship,
And yeah. So, and that was at Wilson.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was when I saw you. That was the first time I saw you, and I noticed one thing that I watch when I be at games is like the coaches too. You know, like how they reacting. When the kid make mistakes. If it's frustration. So I was just paying attention to that game. So when I saw you, I was like, man, I know I seen him before, but I don't know where.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, so how do you go from knocking Wilson from the second chip to being the head coach at Wilson, bro? Like that's crazy to me.
Well,
and that's in 2 years?
2 years. That season, I think, was the toughest coaching season I'd ever been through. Earlier in the season, I had a player, his name was Jamari Briggs. He was a top prospect in the area, but he wasn't getting enough offers. And I think what some coaches are afraid to do is do what's in the best interest of the kid that might not be in the best interest of the program. So I called his dad up. I spoke with his AAU coach, and we found a school, because he was only about to turn 17 at the time and was a rising senior, and didn't have an offer that was worth taking. So we said, hey, you can go to this school and you can reclass, and you end up with 2 more years. You can play another year on the circuit and boost your stuff and still graduate by 18. So, and the kid averaged 25 points for me his junior year. So it was painful.
Dang. Yeah.
But it was his best.
Imagine.
It was his best for him. So I have nobody who can score on this team. Nobody. Not one person who can score in basket. So we had to change how we did things, and we came up with a team can't score 40. If a team scores 40, we're going to lose. If they score over 40, we're going to lose, because we can't score past 40 points. We just can't. So if a game got to 50, it was going to lose. And if you go on Max Prep and look at Hartsville's scores, when we won, the score's in the 40s. When we lost, the score's in the 50s. At least in the 50s. Every game. So we had to adjust how we played, and we actually went through a little stretch. Wilson actually beat us twice by 20+ that year. The first game was both games they beat the devil out of us. And then I think after the first loss, we kind of did some thinking as a coaching staff. I cussed all my coaches out. I told them we got to figure it out. It ain't the kids. If we losing this much, it ain't the kids. The kids, let's look at the film. Are they doing what we asked them to do? Yes. then it's up to us to figure out how we're going to put these kids in the best situation for them to be successful, which in turn makes us successful. And so we had to change some things. We had to go through different players, and we eventually got to a formula that works. But we knew that if we did it too early, we'd pay for it later. Right. And basketball is a game of, you got to sometimes, what's the saying? You better listen to your corner and watch for the hook. Like, we got to make sure that we are always got that hook in hand, like they can't see it coming. And so we were extremely prepared for that game against Wilson. And all that week, every little minute detail. And then the kids, like the last talk, the kids was just like, I usually give a speech, and the kids was like, Coach, we don't need a speech. We got you. It's the end of the last practice. So we go to the game. We get to the game, and I say, you know what you do with a bully? You hit them first. And if they don't drop, hope you hit them a second time. Hope you got enough time to hit them a second time. And if you get them down, just keep punching. And that's all we did. We just kept going. But through that, they went to the lower state. Lower state game was a back and forth until the last. We ended up losing by 10, the eventual state champ. But by the end of that season, I was so burnt out. My sons rode with me to every game. And their mom lives out of state, so it's just me and them. So we're getting home late. They're getting up early. I'm doing homework. My son is super emotional. If we win, he's all the way up here. If we lose, he's crying. Yeah. So he went through a couple of anxiety attacks, and I kind of had to sit back at the end of the season. And throughout the season, I just kept watching him. And then I have a daughter who plays basketball, and I never got to watch her play a whole season because I'm always doing basketball. And then my daughter that's in college, she made a joke. She was like, Daddy, you know what? Every time we went on vacation, it had to do with basketball. And I was like, yeah. She says, and you know what else? I can't date no boy that's shorter than 6 foot. All I've been around is basketball players. And she was joking about it. And up until last night, my youngest graduated from 5th grade. And so me and her went out to dinner. She surprised him. We went out to dinner, and she was just reminiscing over the many AAU and high school basketball trips she'd been on. Yeah. She's about to be 21 years old. Right. And so she's always been around, like everybody's always been around basketball. Right. And so I stepped away from the game like wholeheartedly because I didn't want to do it anymore. It stressed me out. I was missing my own kids. And the way I put it to myself was, I've poured 12 to 15 years into other people's kids, and I did not pour that into my own kids.
Man, that's tough. That's tough to even realize, you know what I mean?
To even think about when your daughter's telling you that this is the impact me coaching, jokingly, but this is the impact it's had. She's never gone on vacation with me. She even brought up last night, is this team going to Orlando? I was like, no, probably not. And she was like, because I've never gone with the AAU team when you go to Orlando and we go to, when you take them to the water parks. I saw on YouTube one time, you posted a video at the water parks.
Oh, the internet.
Yeah, yes. So I'm like, yeah, I said, man, I'm sorry. I said, so you've never gone with us? We've gone on the music parks? She was like, no, Dad. And of course, she's joking and playing, but those things mean.
Right. There be some truth in it.
It's truth in it.
Yeah.
I've missed things.
Right. Dang, that's tough.
Pouring into other people's kids. Other people who don't appreciate the job you do. Yeah. You don't get thank yous. Yeah. It's a thankless job. Yeah. You get more criticism than anything else.
And I'm glad you said that, because like hearing what you're saying, bro, I can see it, what you're saying. And then like not hearing the thank yous. I don't know if it's just me or like just the people around me. But they say, like, that Wilson culture, bro, like, as far as the athletics, is different.
It's unforgiving. But I think that you have to carry yourself accordingly. You have to understand where you are. You have to read the room. I know the job I took. So I know that there's a way that I have to carry myself. I understand that I can't listen to the crowd. I understand that I can't take things personal. I understand that I can't read comments on social media.
Yeah.
Because because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Everybody is undefeated from the stands. Yeah. Ain't nobody lost a game from the stands. So everybody in the stands knows what's best.
Yeah, I can see that.
I understand that. Yeah. So being that I understand that, I don't take none of this thing personal. I think one of the things that gives me a unique perspective is, and I've always said this, even when I was in Hartsville, when I was at Demarcola High School, as passionate as the people are about their school, it means something to me to be in this kind of atmosphere coming from the type of place that I've come from. High school up top is not really, like homecomings ain't really a thing. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. School spirit ain't really a thing. Like, it's something, but it's cool. Yeah. And, ooh, you a tornado. That was my high school tornado. It was like, you're a tornado. I was like Mr. Orange High School. How did I get that? I didn't even know I was popular. Like stuff like that. Here, it's on 100. So I understand the job I took, so I understand that there's a particular way that I have to attack things. And I have to understand that these people are just passionate about their school. It's not that they dislike you as a person because they don't know you.
Right.
So how could you take anything they say personally? Right. So I've never taken any criticism of myself personally. I've never addressed a critic at all because I don't want to put fuel to that fire because I think you can make things worse.
Yeah.
I value everybody's opinion, but it doesn't mean you have to address it. You can value everything. You are valid in your thinking according to your thought process because a person's perception is their reality. So according to their personal thing, this is what they think we should do. Although I disagree, I'm going to respect your opinion and respectfully choose not to respond and just carry on the way I decide to go on about the business at hand.
Yeah. Okay, so so what about the pressure, bro? Because right now you have, from what I know, number 14 player in the state in his class.
In the country.
In the country.
Yes.
Yeah, number 14 player in the country.
Josh.
Yes. All right, and
top 75 player in the country in Tristan.
Right. So, bro.
Top 100, I'm sorry. Top 100.
So, like, that's tough to go into a season. This is how I feel, and this is what the streets are saying. Bro, if he don't win no chip this year, like
is that really a loss?
Let me ask. That's my question.
Is that really a loss? Let's say, do we know that we have 2 or 3 other seniors on that team? Okay, Josh is a rising sophomore and an amazing basketball player. He's going to be playing basketball. We're going to be watching him on TV, getting paid to do this. Tristan, the very exact same thing. We're going to be watching Tristan in a pro jersey one of these days. We're going to be watching that. I don't believe in pressure. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. Now, if you want to condemn me and say, well, he didn't win a state championship, I have yet to win a state championship. It's eluded me all of these years.
You haven't?
I haven't won one.
Or?
I've been a part of, as a head coach, I haven't won one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
But I have 30 kids in college. I'm currently about to watch one of my kids take an NBA journey. I've trained multiple guys that have been able to go pro. I adopted a kid in the 7th grade that everybody said was going to fail, and he ended up playing for the Washington Redskins.
Dang.
Those are real wins.
Yeah, I can agree.
State championships fade. You forget. Those are forgotten. Like, when they honor them, in 2027, they're going to honor the 2007 state champs for their 20-year run.
Yo.
So you mean to tell me that everything in between that, if another one isn't won, between now and then, every season has been a failure? Right. When all of these kids have gone to school, when all of these other kids have realized their dream, and have forgot everything else? So no, I don't believe in the pressure.
Right.
The pressure for me is those kids not getting a scholarship.
Word.
That's the pressure for me. The pressure for me is those kids not graduating from high school. The pressure for me is them kids falling into the streets. That's the real pressure for me. Now, you want to condemn me? I mean, how many people have actually won a state championship?
That's the good question. That's real good. That's a good question, bro.
Very few.
Right. You're right.
Very few.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of them.
Yeah, you was one of them. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about like just coaches. Coaches coach 30, 40 years and never win a state championship.
Dang, you're right, bro.
Never. They never get. I've been to 2 lower states in my last 3 years. And was right, like, a play here and there, I'm playing for a state championship. Yeah. 3rd round against Wilson, Trey Hannibal scores 62. 62, and we lose.
Somebody scored 62 points on a Wilson team?
Yeah.
A 62 point. Boy,
let me give you the full stats. 62 points, 20 rebounds, and 9 assists. 5 steals.
Man, y'all must be having
5 blocks.
4-point shot out there or something.
No, 0 3-pointers.
What?
Trey Hannibal, look it up.
62.
Look it up. It's a legendary game.
Yo.
The 2nd highest scoring game in state history. And we lost. Is that to say that season was a failure when he went on to play at South Carolina and LSU? Another player on his team went on to play at Xavier and is now at Georgia State. Another player on that team Rod Gaddison went off to play at ECU, and now he's got drafted to the NFL. Another player on that team is playing football at Clemson. Yeah. Was that a fail when we had them in study hall, making sure their grades was right, so that when the colleges came, they had the grades to actually go?
Okay, so I got a question.
That's the win.
I got a question about that. And like I'm not a real basketball player, for real. I just
but you're an athlete.
Basketball. I'm an athlete, though. So, but when it comes to coaching, though, like, because I completely respect what you're saying, and I agree with you, too. But how does the people who make the decisions feel about, okay, he might not win as many games, but these kids going to school, like, what is it that they're balancing or deeming important as far as, like, the security of a good coach that's actually doing the things or, you know, putting the kids and their future first and not just taking the game as the life? You know what I'm saying? So,
because I think educators understand that parents, educators, and people who are real athletes understand that one day the ball stops.
Yeah.
What are you going to have when the ball stops? And I think that we have to instill in the kids that, yes, we're going to be competitive. I don't want anybody to sit there and think I'm not going to try for a state championship, because that's the goal every year.
You know that, but that's what people was going to say too.
No, that's fine.
You ain't worried about winning.
No, that's the goal every year.
Right.
Because think about this now. If you have college caliber players every year, I've always been ranked in the top 10. I've never gone a season without being ranked in the top 10. Never. It's never happened. Even if I start out the top 10, I always end up in the top 5. People never want to play me because I'm the most scariest game you're going to play.
Hey. Okay. Why? What makes that? Makes you that? The way you dissect?
Everybody understands that my teams are going to be prepared.
Right.
So now it's just about the execution.
Yeah.
And the execution ain't up to me. Execution is up to the kids.
Right.
And then the adjustments are up to me.
Right.
And I think that's what plays a part in it. And then nobody, and I need the fans to hear this, you ain't got to tell me, nobody has to tell me I did something wrong. I am my biggest critic. I analyze everything about what I do. So nobody ever has to tell me if I'm doing something wrong. I already got you beat. I'm my own worst critic. When I get home, it's me and my sons, and we watching the game. God, I should have called that timeout. Biggest mistake I ever made. Trey has 62 points, right? Trey calls a timeout. I didn't tell him to call a timeout. I told him the actual motion was, I think Allen, I forget Allen's last name. He was shooting free throws. And I said, no matter if he missed a make because he tied the game, right? If he makes it, it's going to be a tie game. I said, go with it. This is my exact thing. Go with it. I mouthed to him, go with it. He takes the ball, brings it across half. Because you have 62 points. What am I stopping you for? He gets the ball, brings it across half court, calls a timeout. I said, what are you doing? He said, no, you said call a time. I said, no, I didn't. So now we draw up a play. It doesn't work. We end up with the ball out of bounds underneath the basket. Here's where I make the mistake. Here's why I overcoached. I said, Trey got 6. I didn't even know Trey had 6-something points. I know he had a lot of points. Cesar, my second best player at the time, he has like 20-something points. And I'm like, okay, we're going to run a cross screen for the both of them. Everybody's going to collapse on those two. AJ, you come around this pin down screen, you're going to be wide open. I done seen you hit that shot a million times in practice. You can hit that shot. AJ literally looks at me and says, please don't give me this ball. I'm like, AJ, I got faith in you. You can hit this shot.
He sound like me.
Trey and Cesar do what they supposed to do. The whole defense collapses. If you watch the film, the whole defense converts. It's 4 kids on 2. AJ comes across butt naked, wide open, catches the ball. I'm like, yes, we got it. He passes it, just catches it, passes it. Passes it to Shaquan in the corner. Shaquan didn't even know the ball was coming because it wasn't for him. He just flips it up. Shots off. We end up losing in overtime. And I said, biggest mistake in my career was not just Trey has 62, let him go for 64. Just give him the ball. The players give him the ball. Trey, you get a bucket.
You feel like that was the mistake?
That was the mistake.
But I can't see it. I see what you're saying, but I think you giving a kid an opportunity to like know that he can do what it is that you asked him, like he has the ability to. Mm-hmm. I can't completely say that it was a
no. You give it to the person that has 62 points.
But if he would have hit that jump, but if he would have hit it though,
I'd have been a genius. I'd have been a genius.
Exactly. You'd be like, that was a.
I'd have been a genius. Yeah. But it was the worst. It was one of the worst. My second worst decision actually cost the kid. And I sometimes it bothers me to death about this. Zaki Knox was our point guard of the year. Wilson won state. Mm-hmm. The first time we played everybody in the region, beat everybody in the region by 25. Mm-hmm. Like we were running away with the region. Zaki hurts his knee. It's a tweak, but he was so important to us. He wasn't our leading scorer, but he was the heart of the team. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as people say, "Hey man, the trainer says he could play," I'm like, "All right, cool. Let's get him back out there." Tweaks it again. Now I'm worried. I'm like, God. So now we up against the Wilson game. If we win the Wilson game, we clinch the region. We're in number 1. Because at this point we're undefeated. We win this game. We breeze through the thing. We go to the lower state. We'll see Wilson at lower state.
Mm-hmm. That'd be crazy.
He ends up. He's on the bench. The guard I got in, he's turning the ball over like crazy. Zaki is looking at me with, like, just put me in the game. And I should have thought about him instead of the team. And I should have let him sit. I get him in the game. We come back now. End of the half, he goes make a play, comes down, twists it even worse. Now he's out. Out. And I always felt like sometimes we have to protect kids from themselves, and sometimes we have to think about the kids first. So that was another decision that I felt like, and I've told Zaki a number of times, he's back 100%. He ended up with a basketball scholarship to Francis Marion. He's now at University of South Carolina. One of a really good. He came out Kappa the other day. That's the only thing he did wrong is he pledged Kappa. That's the only thing that he did wrong. But other than that, so I think I'll be the first one to criticize myself.
Word.
So even if you feel I need to hear it, by all means, that's what social media is for people to give their opinions. Please do so. But I ain't gonna read it. But have the discussions because I ain't friends with nobody. So social media.
and I do think that's the beauty too. I know a lot of just before the news came out who the coach was, just listening to people speak on the next situation, man, and then having the opportunity to talk to you. and how you break things down. Like I literally got to listen to you analyze an entire scenario and the way that you move the pieces around on the way that you attempt to move the pieces. Because like you said, it ain't, you can do the strategy, but it's up to the
execution.
The execution is on the players. So what is it that this upcoming season, man, this basketball season, it's gonna be big for just Wilson, you know, just with all the news surrounding the basketball team right now, at this point in time. So what is it that you feel like you can do with this current team that you have to propel them forward? Like,
I think they have all the pieces. You have, you know, we talk about Josh and Tristan because they are the anchors of the team. But you have kids like Christian Bruce, who is a 5'10" dynamo, like a ball full of energy. He's gonna defend. He can score with the best of them. Like, he can put points up in bunches. Then we have a kid, Rashad Woodbury, rising sophomore. He's a dog on defense. You know, he ain't gonna score a bunch of points, but he's gonna really make life hard for you on the defensive side of the ball. Elijah Smith is a big. I think that he's due for a breakout season. You have Cam Muldrow, who's another kid. He's a 3-and-D type of kid. Then we have some young kids coming over, Jabron McFadden from the middle school, and Isaiah, 6'2", athletic kid, just caught a body in a basketball tournament the other day. So it's a lot of pieces there for something that we can work with that is going to make for a very good season, and I think people need to come out and enjoy the show.
Man, I'm definitely coming. So what about the challenges that you see, though, that you just looking at it now?
Well, the challenge is going to be no two coaches are alike.
Right.
So me and Carlos's coaching styles are two different types, and I think it's going to be an adjustment period in that. So early on in the season, we might not be hitting on all those cylinders, but that's because they're still learning offensive sets, they're still learning defenses, they're still learning how I game plan, and then their applications of the way I game plan. Yeah. But by the time we hit that stride, that middle of the season, should be a well-oiled machine, and I think people are going to be proud to say, come in and wear a Wilson shirt and be proud of the team and the product that we put on the floor.
Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting to watch. It's been exciting since I've been able to actually show up to games, but now, you know, having a new coach outside of the Wilson culture, because that's something that I hear a lot too. When I left Wilson, I really ain't come back to Florence for a long term until maybe about 4 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. So one of the things that's been roaming around is coaches that ain't came from Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear people say this a lot. They say, man, they keep hiring people from outside of Wilson. They need somebody from Wilson to understand how to XYZ. You know, what would you say about that, bro?
Now here's my issue, and I don't want to.
Have you heard that though?
I've heard that everywhere I've been.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, I'm from New York, so every place I've coached, I'm an outsider. I'm not from here. All right. So, you know, in Hartsville, it was we don't play basketball the running Red Fox way. And then when I was at Denmark, you don't know how to do Viking basketball. And
every place got
something. Yeah, every place got something.
Okay.
I think the thing that gives me a little bit more ability is the fact a little bit more of an edge over in the job over someone that's from there. This is not disparaging anybody who could be from Wilson. It's just there's no emotion in it for me.
I can understand that.
It's all logic. So nothing is emotional for me. So whereas if it's a game, like the thing I couldn't understand for the life of me is why put people at Hartsville that put so much immense pressure on their children against Darlington.
Oh, yeah, because the rival.
It was just another game. Like, okay, well, okay. Yeah. We're going to go in here and we're going to beat them. But the amount of pressure that was put on the kids allowed them to not execute because of the pressure that was put on them by the community. And it's but the thing about it is it's all out of good. The community just wants to win. They want to have the bragging rights. And I want to give them that. But I think that's my advantage is I can see things from a logical perspective, and emotion will not play a part for me in any of it. And so I think I've been able to get my kids to play more logically and be like, hey, look, I know y'all want to beat these guys and you want to talk that trash on social media. Your parents want to do this. People probably betting on this game. I understand that. But let's go out here and win. All right? Let's go out here and win. Yeah. And to get them to build over time, I was able to do that over time at Hartsville. And I think it's the same thing here. You want to win all the Florence games. Hartsville is a rivalry, and Lord, it's going to go crazy this year. I can just imagine.
I can only imagine.
Listen, let me tell you something. My phone was going off. I had to cut my phone off this past weekend.
Where?
Man, listen. Hartsville is an unforgiving place, and I've been going a year. It's an unforgiving place. I love them to death. I still live in Hartsville. I love them to death, but it's an unforgiving place, man. I tell you, them people will be on your behind, boy. I tell you. So
that's gonna be a hostile environment.
Hey, listen, my principal, the former principal, Mr. Lewis at Hartsville, he told me when I left Hartsville, he said, "You're gonna be coaching again." And he said, "I think you're gonna be coaching at Wilson one day." Exactly what he said when I left. I said, "No, coach." I said, "No, Mr. Lewis, I don't want to coach." He said, "You know what? I know." He said, I get it. He said, "I understand." He said, "But if you do understand, I'm gonna sit behind your bench and I'm gonna boo you every game." And so I was like, okay, he said that 2 years ago, well, last year. So I seen him in Food Lion yesterday, as a matter of fact. And he shook my hand, he said, "Congratulations." He gave me a hug. And he said, "I'm sitting behind your bench and I'm gonna boo you the whole time, right? I love you, but I'm gonna boo you the whole time." Athletic director texted me as soon as Carlos announced. Athletic director texted me and said, "I know you're gonna get the job." I said, because at the time, I really didn't know. I really didn't know until I think a couple days ago. Really, I was going to get the job. It was so funny. He texts me and says, he would always tell me, "You always be a red fox." In this text, he says, "You're no longer a red fox." Don't expect no food. Don't expect no food when you come here. So, so I mean, but the one thing I can say about the Hartsville community, because I've had former players call me and tell me congratulations and good luck, is everybody knows my heart, and they know that I'm a genuine person, and they know that I'm, as much as I disagree with people and as much as people disagree with what I do coaching wise, they know I always have the kids' best interests at heart, and that's never in question. I'm always for the kids. You might not agree with what I do, X's and O's. You might not agree with me losing games or winning games or how we won a game or how we lost a game, but that's a part of the game. That's a part of the profession I chose.
Right.
Coaching is understanding that everybody thinks you're wrong. And once you understand that everybody thinks you're wrong, you kind of just live, you live the best way you can. I was watching, you ever heard of Abbott Elementary?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
All right, so I watched Abbott Elementary, and they had an episode on, and Teagues asked the janitor, she was like, "How do you do that?" He was like, "What?" He says, "Just live your life every day without a care." And he said, living with consequences is better than living with regrets. And that made entire sense to me.
Yeah.
I can
see that.
You can always talk about what you should have did. You can always talk about, everybody talks about, "Oh, I should have did this, man. I should have did that, man. Why not just do it and see what happens, and then you live with the consequence." As a coach, we deal with I've learned this too. Players win game, coaches lose them.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Oh, if we win understand this. If we win a state, it ain't because of me. It's because of Josh and Tristan. As it should be. The kids should never carry the weight of a loss.
But they say that's what good leaders believe too, though. Like, if you take an L,
it's on me.
You. Yeah. But
I should have done a better job of putting the kids in a position to be successful. And if we lose, it's on me. These are kids. They don't know any better. They're going off of emotion. You can't be emotional too. Yeah. Now, I'm going to be in the game. You're going to see me jumping up and down the sideline. When a ball is shot, I'm going to be leaning. I was a meme one time for like a whole week.
Oh, you know what I mean? Meme status?
No, somebody meme me. This kid took a shot I did not want him to take, and it took all the air out of me because we ended up losing the game. And I got down on a knee, and I had my hand over my head. Why some girl in Lake City did a side-by-side, and next thing you know, it was all kind of stuff. What you do when there ain't no more milk in the house, and all kind of, it was all kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm not emotional. I'm animated when I coach, but it's always logic. And I think that we have to carry the weight so that the kids can play free. And if I'm always blaming the kids, now they will be held accountable for turnovers, for boxing out, rebounds, getting beat on defense, getting backdoored, like little things like that we'll correct in practice. But the weight of a loss, it doesn't belong on their shoulders. Yeah. The weight of the loss belongs on the coaches. Right. And so if you want to, I'm an adult, I can take it. But if you out here criticizing a kid or, imagine what that kid got to go home to. That kid knows he had a bad game. All he got is his parents at the house. The other kids at school going to tease him when he get there about the loss. Yeah. So why am I as a coach going to continue to pile on that? We got to speak life into kids.
That's real talk.
We got to speak life into. We got to teach them, it's a cold world and you got to be accountable for your actions. Yeah, we're going to deal with that in practice. But out here in this world, I'm not going to throw a kid under the bus. I'm going to take it. That's what I'm here for. My assistant coaches ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what I'm here for, is to take the blunt of whatever it is anybody got to throw out. Because nobody can ever, there's nothing you can say to me that's going to make me stop doing my job.
Right. Yeah. Man, I wish so much success for you.
Thanks,
bro.
man. I appreciate it.
Just because the short time that I've been able to deal with you, like we've been able to deal with each other, I got respect for you.
Same here. I mean? Same here, man. Like I've gotten to know you some, and I hope this the relationship continues to foster and grow. But the love and the pride that you have for the community is completely admirable. I'm hoping to be out in the community as much, and I'm going to be leaning on you some for that.
I'm here for you, dog.
And like I say, we won't always agree,
right?
But just understand that I have the best kids' interests at heart, and that's really the only thing I got.
Right. So tell them, because the people that's watching, I know everybody from Wilson looking at this, because people, man, when I found out who the coach was gonna be, I was like asking people like, yo, y'all know who the coach is gonna be? Y'all know who the coach is gonna be? Just to see who knew.
Yeah.
So people been wanting to know, and I was like, bro, I want to get the first interview.
Oh yeah, you got the first one. This is the first interview. I haven't done any. Yo, I've been hit up a couple of news stations wanted to talk, and I had another podcast wanted to reach out, and they wanted to talk. And this is the first interview I said.
Yo,
it's the first interview I did.
Talk, man. I appreciate
no doubt, man.
Philosophy Talk show with the breaking news. But yeah, I do appreciate the opportunity and you seeing enough in me to not only give me the interview, but just sit down and have a conversation with me.
Oh yeah.
To let the people know who you are, where you coming from. You have any message for those who will be watching in the community at this point that you want to make sure you get out up front?
Yeah, when you see them kids in the community, help build them up. Speak life into them. If we take a loss, pat them on the back and tell them it's gonna be okay. If they got to win, praise them. You ain't got to do that for me, but these are the kids from your community. And that's the thing about kids and coming back and giving back and all of that. The reason why people keep giving back to Wilson, this is what I've learned, is that it's always been a tight-knit community that takes pride in it. And that's why you say, where's the pressure and how does it feel? And it feels great. I'm excited. Like when I tell you I'm excited about this opportunity, from the outside looking in, when you're on the opposing bench and you watching them fans go nuts and they're going crazy and it's packed and you ain't never been in this environment before, it's amazing. And to know that I'm going to have that type of support at my back now rather than me facing it, I'm excited to see what can happen.
That's dope.
And so from the homecomings to all of that, so when you see these kids, man, just let them know you know what I'm saying, you got faith in them. Let them know that you riding with them so that they can continue to play with the confidence that they need to play with. Because I ain't gonna front, man, this is a state championship caliber team. So anybody who says that it's not is crazy. And yes, it's the expectation. Yeah. The expectation is to win a state championship.
Yeah. And the expectation is high, man, but I feel it from you. I'm in the room with them, so yeah. And this ain't our first time talking, but I do feel it from you. I love the way that you move the pieces and you study.
I study everything.
Like that by you being a studier and being able to break down. We had said like pennies make dollars, knowing that them small things add up.
Yeah, like just simple things like when you watch film and you watch bench demeanor.
Right.
I'm watching the bench demeanor for the kid that always got an attitude, because that's the kid we gonna pick on.
See, that's
because that's when there's a huddle for a timeout, who don't go to the huddle? Who over there drinking water and not listening to the coach because he don't know what's going on. So we going when he get the ball, we might blitz him, we might trap him, we might play him. We're gonna figure out a way to get under his skin because he ain't engaged in the team.
Man, you giving away all your strategies, man.
It don't matter. You still got to stop it. You still got to stop it.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. Like, you can give somebody the blueprint, they still got to stop it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's my thing. Like, and then we also got to realize that it is just a game. When coaches come, when I was at Hartsville, whenever we played against an opposing team and it was in our house, we feed the opposing coaches. Why do we feed them? We know what it's like to be on the bus on the ride home, and the kids are going to get something to eat but since you got to wait for the last kid to get picked up, you might leave and the stores is closed.
Yeah.
So we give them plates to go home with. We put water in their locker room because sometimes they don't have any. They didn't bring nothing with them. And I think once you treat people like that, you put that good juju out there, there ain't nothing but going to come back to you.
That's real. I definitely believe in that.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do nothing but come back to you. Yeah. Like, how can you be mad at me? I always used to tell Carlos, I said, you know why you have trouble beating me? He said, no. I said, because you like me.
Because you nice.
Yeah, because he used to say, man, I can't eat your food before the game. I said, why? He said, you being nice to me so I won't be mad at you.
Yeah, so I can see him, man.
No. I used to tell him that all the time. Dominique, I ain't eating your food in English. I ain't eating that food in English. Yeah. I eat it after the game. After the game. Yeah. So, I mean, it's those group of guys, and then the way they kind of brought me in this year, and they're really good group of good group of guys, and I wish the best for them in their futures. All of them are headed to do great things. I know it, and I'm hoping that I can as well.
Word, man. Well, welcome to the U.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
From me to you, and hopefully y'all give me permission to speak for the entire Wilson history, Wilson alumni, all.
Yeah.
Man, welcome to the U, man. We happy to have you, bro. You a part of it now.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Yeah, you here now.
And I said this to one of the people that work at Wilson. I said, I feel like, and Hartsville's AD and them gonna kill me for this, but I feel like I've gotten to the place where I'm gonna retire from. I think I could see myself
that's what's up,
coaching
bro.
There for 20 to 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, this is my last stop of coaching and just being here. The family atmosphere, the warmth that you feel when you walk through the school, the way, and I used to joke, there's a friend of mine, her name is Ferronda Green. I worked with her, she was a teacher. She's from Wilson, and we used to go back and forth about it. She said this is something called Wilsonians.
Wilsonians.
Yes. Yeah. So she's a Wilsonian, and the pride that you guys have in just being from and graduating from Wilson, I hope that I'm able to give you even more pride and live up to everything that you guys are looking for in a basketball coach, in a program. Also, my son, a funny story, and we can go. My son always wanted to be a Red Fox because 8 years of me coaching at Hartsville, he came up. We was at Demarcola. He might have been 1 or 2. We got to Hartsville because he's 11 now. So yeah, he was 3 when we got to Hartsville. So he's always come up wanting to be a Red Fox. Right. This year he went to a Wilson pep rally for homecoming. We got in the car afterwards. He said, "Daddy, I want to be a Tiger."
Changed his life.
I said, "What?" He said, "I want to be." So when it came time to pick a middle school, he said, "What middle school goes to Wilson?" I said, "Williams." He's like, "Okay, Daddy, what I got to do to go to Williams?" So he's in the NYP program, and he got an NYP, and so he just graduated from Del May. He's headed to Williams next year. Word. Can't wait. You talk about somebody happy I'm back into coaching? Because when I retired, he said, "Daddy, that means you ain't going to coach me." When I was talking to him about the job, he said, "Better take the job because I want you to coach me." Yeah, and so he's happy. He's happy I'm back to coaching because now he's always wanted to play for me. And so he's like, "Well, Daddy, in 3 years, I'm going to play for you," because he's going to the 6th grade. So it's an amazing thing. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited. So
I'm excited.
Thank you. I'm blessed to even have this opportunity. And I hope I could do you guys proud.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Well, I'm here for you, bro. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this interview, man. It was, this conversation. I ain't even gonna call it an interview. Thank you so much for this conversation and taking the time out of your day.
Oh yeah.
To sit with me.
Anytime.
Sharing your space.
Oh yeah. Hey.
You know what I mean?
Crux Media, baby.
Crux Media. Sharing the space with me, man. And this is gonna be a special time. But while we here, I do want to inspire every single person to take advantage of the now, because the now is all that exists. The past is just a accumulation of prior nows. The future are just nows that we have yet to experience. So when we think about time and when we think about life is right now. Like, life is in the beginning. Life is every single second is a new now. So if you're able to take advantage of the right now, when the nows of the future come, the nows of the past will be that seed that was planted for the nows of the future. So let's take advantage of right now the best we can. I look forward to future nows with you.
Appreciate it.
At the U. And until next time, we will see y'all. Stay peaceful, stay encouraged, and stay blessed.
Peace.